Hi everyone, it's Cindy Rue with Mama Rue Crafts, and I wanted to show you how I did the design element on my mini last time using my punches, which this was using the French scroll, and I used that element on one of my pages. What you do is you take any of your border punches and you measure your design here. Do you see what I'm doing? This one is a 1/2 inch. So to make this border, this is just a scant under 1 inch. When I did the 1 inch exactly, it ended up leaving little strings. Do you see that in between? Okay, you can go back in and cut them out with an X-Acto, or you can lay a ribbon or a row of beads or something across there to hide that, and that would be fine. But I found if you went just a little bit under, you get a nice clean punch. Okay, and there is a little trick to this, and this is the 1 inch. And what you do is you find a place. You always want to start in the same spot. So you can either go all the way to the end like this and punch and then do one whole side. But what I end up doing is I find, maybe you can see it a little better here, I find a spot anywhere on here, and I'm going to go to this spot here where it's just right there. And you want to remember that spot. That's where you went. And you're going to punch. Okay? You'll go down your whole page, or your whole strip, punching that out. Lining it up and punching. Okay? And let's go. It's right here. Okay, so we have it, and this is the end I started with. So all I'm going to do is flip it over. All right, now I'm going to go to that same exact spot that I started with, and let's see if I get down there. Punch it. Go over here. Lining it up, punching. Do one more. Punching. Now, this was the 1 inch. So you see where you've got that little line. But that's all you're doing, and you're lining, and it lines up perfectly. As long as you make sure you're starting in the same spot. And some of these punches, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a slight little grid here on Martha Stewart ones, and you might want to be able, you could use one of these lines here to line up, so you're not trying to line up with a design. But if it doesn't have that, you can go ahead and use one of the design area. And it works for any punch. I want you to play around. I played around with this one. Here is a 1 1/4. Okay, start out. Right. Here is 1 1/2. Here is a 1 3/4. So you can get a lot of different looks from the same punch. And wouldn't this be a fun element just to add on a greeting card on the side like this, or across the bottom, or on a border, on a scrapbook layout? I mean, it's just striking. Okay, and you can add a skinny ribbon in here, all sorts of the elements that you can add on to this. So I wanted to show you, I played around with a few of my punches, and I had some success and I had some failures. I'll start with the failure. I tried this deep edge punch. I think it's Blossom Eyelet or something like that. And I don't know if you can see it. Well, I measured it, and it was 2 1/4, I believe, is what I had to use. But I didn't like how that ended up coming out because the flowers matched up and how the holes were in the middle. It just didn't seem to have the look I wanted. So I wasn't real happy with that one. Next one I tried another one that I wasn't real happy with. I love my butterfly by Fiskars, and that was really neat, except, let me see here. When I did it, at first, I was matching it up evenly. I didn't like how that turned out, because even turned on the side, the butterflies just don't work. So then I went and I tried doing it on this side a little more random, and so I got a little bit of a drape. I guess it's okay, but it's still not something I probably would use, just because I don't like the butterflies being upside down and everything. Did the snowflake one. I had this one. And when I did it the first time, I lined it up perfectly. And it was just kind of, and of course here I got a little too close. I didn't have it flush up against. So when I tried it the second time, I didn't try lining it up in the same area, and I like that look a little bit better. I think that would make a nice winter element on a winter card or a layout. What do you think? Of course, I used all these craft scraps I had. And here's another Fiskars, and this is one of the first ones I ever bought, and I'm sure everybody has one of these. A lot of people still use them. Now, when I measured it, it was just under, it was like 7/8 of an inch. But when I did it, it kind of came out like a chain, and I wasn't really wild about that idea. I mean, I didn't even cut it out. But just, I mean, that's a look. You could do that. But then I gapped it with the full, I think it was 1 1/8 inches. That's what I did this one. And I had a little bit of a center on that, and that isn't too bad. Might be a nice little element area. I might have put rhinestones or little flowers, punch little flowers or something in there. Then I did a 1 1/2 inch, and I came up with that, which I like better. And I would add a ribbon in here. I might take the punch that I have and do little slots so I can weave ribbon in and out. And that's a cute look. So play around with the punches. Let's see. I have the Modern Garland. You see that one? And I tried it wide. I liked how that looks. Nice, neat deco art maybe design. And then here it is lined up, and I thought that was a neat effect too. Alright. Then I have this punch here. Now this one's tricky because you don't want to go, when you're measuring on here, it's a 1/2 inch, but I went just a little bit more because I didn't want it to cut and join in. And so here's what that one looks like, because otherwise that would join in and be a big hole and it'd be real loose. But I really liked how that turned out. So you can imagine that on a card. Then I have the bubbles, and these are all Martha Stewart's again. And this one is lining that up perfectly again. I might try that one, maybe a helter-skelter effect, not matching it up, and see if it gives it more of a Swiss cheese look. But I liked how that looked there. I have this one, I think it's Gothic Arches. And this one was really unique because it did cut away. And of course I have a few little threads that I'll go back in with an X-Acto, but that's a wide weave right here in the middle. Perfect for adding in ribbon and weaving ribbon in and out. And I thought that was a really neat effect. So might want to try that sometime. Let's see. Then I have this, this one doesn't even fold up. This was like one of my first ones I ever bought. The Fiskars, and this one was like my first two purchases. And when I measured it, I did it real close. I mean, this was, I think it was a 1 inch. And that's neat. I like how, can you see how that, the little dots weave around and everything, and gives you a really neat look. But then when you do it a little wider, how neat that looks too. And can't you imagine just taking some little lettering and putting in here, or some rhinestones, little flower punched things. I think that would be a really neat one that I'd probably use time and again. So I hope you play with this, and just remember the tip is always finding a spot, the same spot to start, and that you're punching the one side and flipping it over, so you're always starting from that same edge. Alright, so have fun with that, try them out, and see what you can come up with. You might be surprised, you might not be buying border strips or cutting so many of the borders. You'll make your own and make it truly unique. So that's a fun thing to try. And one more thing I wanted to share. I found at my grocery store, of all places, these little ruled index cards. Look at this, little tiny index cards. They're 3 by 2.5. Now I have punched these in ovals and circles, and I don't have to stamp a journaling card anymore. As a matter of fact, I've even cut tags that size, just a little bit bigger, to mount these on. So I just thought that was amazing that they're coming out with this size now. Some of the bigger journaling spots, I've taken regular lined ruler index cards. If you don't have a journaling stamp, and you don't want to waste the time drawing the lines, that you can take a index card, use your Big Shot and Spellbinders or something, and cut it out of shape, and you've got your sorry about that, you have your journaling spots without lining, and then you can just ink your edges. So I just wanted to share that little tip with you too. I hope you have fun with this. Play with those punches. Get more than just going around the page with them. And have fun. Happy scrapping.